Dzień dobry Państwu, zaczynamy
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome. On behalf of our moderator of our meeting, who is still concerned with some organizational matters, I would like to welcome you to the presentation for the first quarter of 2015. Financial performance only of Grupa Azoty. We are presenting our financial results today. Therefore, the group is represented by CFOs and people concerned with our financial matters. Mr. Wojciech Kozak, who will explain the situation at Puławy, Mr. Wojciech Naruć, who will present the financial performance of Police, and Mr. Mirosław Ptasiński, Vice President of the Grupa Azoty ZAK. My name is Andrzej Skolimowski. I'm a Vice President of Grupa Azoty. The four of us are responsible for the financials and the financial performance. 2.8 billion is the sales revenue posted for quarter 1 2015, EBITDA at 485 million, and net profit at 306 million. And EPS, earnings per share, at 2.78. Results for the first quarter of 2015 were driven mainly by higher selling prices year on year. Therefore, in comparison with the first quarter of 2014, we recorded an increase in selling prices quarter by quarter. Considering mild weather, which resulted in earlier application of fertilizers, we expected better performance, especially in the fertilizers segment, coupled with appreciation of foreign currencies, especially the US dollar, which determines the urea sales, which also had a positive impact on our quarter 1 results. Our production capacities, both in fertilizers and plastics segment and also across other segments, were utilized in full. We are using the falling prices of energy sources, especially gas, which also have driven up our EBITDA. In the period of price fluctuations, which included both increases and slumps of prices, we are maintaining a year-on-year of polyamide, PA6 and benzene delta at a stable level in the plastics segment. Throughout the first quarter of 2015, we reported our main quarterly milestones at our conferences and also press releases and current reports. Those are the milestones which we will discuss in more detail later on, starting with the major investment in across the group, which was the PDH unit, the propane dehydrogenation unit at Police. Furthermore, we signed an agreement with a bank consortium as the first pillar of our new financing, which is meant to prepare us and to ensure our financial security for the financial program, for the investment program. As a result of our consolidation work, not only in the legal, financial, business and purchasing activity, we are working on the exchange of our experiences and our knowledge to improve the security and safety at our plants. Therefore, we set up the Grupa Azoty Rescue Education Center, We signed a new group insurance agreement, including medical insurance. We partner with LuxMed, the medical services company. Grupa Azoty was included in the prestigious FTSE Emerging Markets Index. We have also decided to launch the new form of our cooperation in the international arena. Not only do we want to make our voice heard at different international meetings, we also want to make our presence and make our voice heard in a more behind-the-scenes manner. Therefore, we decided to become the partner, the industry partner of the World Economic Forum in Davos. And our presence was noticed and our voice was heard, not only in terms of the food safety, but also in terms of our chemical industry and the situation of the chemical industry. It was heard and it was commented heavily in different media. We were also present at various other forums. We presented our industry and we discussed certain vital matters for our business. Our representatives took part in a number of different discussion panels. And what is most important, we have been using and leveraging all those events to strengthen the group's situation in such important matters for Europe, such as the free trade agreement. We are presenting our position and we are also requesting the policymakers to focus on the security and the interests of the fertilizers industry in the perspective of several years to come. The agreement that we have signed with the bank consortium to secure the financing of the new investment project in the financial perspective 2020 was signed on April 23rd. We will discuss this agreement later on. We signed this agreement with 4 major banks, BGK, ING, PZWBK and PKO. The amount of the contract was 1.5 million PLN. This is the first step only. Other actions will be taken in due time. As I've mentioned before, the group was included in the prestigious FTSE index. This is a very important breakthrough for us because we are now taking this opportunity to put into practice all those strategies and programs announced back in 2013 and 2014. Other milestones included appointment of new management board members for the 10th term of office. Now I would like to ask Mr. Wojciech Naruć to present certain detailed areas. In terms of urea production, urea is obviously, in terms of the production capacity, it is more than 1 million tons, 1.1 to be exact. What is most important, or more important for us, is melamine. Melamine is riding on a fluctuating trend, but we have managed to sign contracts, especially in the furniture market, but not only that market. So we have allocated the production volume, and we sold the production volume from 2014, which will obviously impact our business results for the first quarter of 2015 in the chemicals segment. We launched the new project, which went under the name WOW. This is the project focusing on the gardening, leisure gardening, and horticulture fertilizers. We will obviously encourage you, if you are into gardening, we will encourage you to use those products. We took part in the mega project initiative, and we also cooperated and partnered with various institutions and scientific circles. This is also a showcase for us. So not only major projects, big projects, but also certain projects for our retail customers. We started the process of divestment of our non-core companies. This included 3 companies, Remzat Medical and Stozap. The latter being a catering service company, not only food service, but also cleaning service company. Remzap is the major repairs company at Puławy, and the last company that we decided to divest is a medical services company. The divestment project was met with a major interest at the company. Concerning the interests of employees of those companies. This process, however, has been very successful so far, and we are planning to complete this process successfully to the benefit of both parties. Grupa Azoty Puławy was also recognized as the major company and the major business in our region. We have partnered with a number of different scientific, educational, and other circles. We are working with local suppliers of both energy and coal, considering that we hold a major share of Bogdanka. All those elements make us very happy. Now, we will later present the impact of those factors on our financials. But let me now give over the floor to my colleague from Police. As far as Police is concerned, the group has tripled net profit comparison with the first quarter of 2014. Our EBITDA is also double the amount of the first quarter of 2014. Those results were driven mainly by a major increase of our compound fertilizer sales, which, as you may know, present traditionally the most difficulties in terms of their sale. The second major information concerning the first quarter of 2015, a couple of days ago, we signed a major agreement with the supplier of technologies which will enable us to produce propylene from propane. We signed this agreement with a company from a major company, international company. This agreement includes all the services that we need to launch this project, and we are now waiting to start works on this major investment. We are also focusing on the financing of that project, and I expect that we will have a special meeting soon at which we will let you know and update you on the progress of this investment. Now, as far as the Grupa Azoty ZAK group is concerned, our milestones included the market launch of the new plasticizer brand under the name Oviflex. This will be our major plasticizer product in the OXO segment. We also started the revamping of the fertilizer storage facility, which now can hold 50,000 tons of fertilizers. This history of this storage facility dates back to the 50s. This might be of interest to you. Another milestone included corporate approvals for the construction of a steam generator for the OXO unit, which will be used to burn waste gases from our production process, and intensification of production of urea for NOxy and Pool-NOx products. Thank you. Now, as we have participated in a number of different forums and meetings at which the future of Europe is discussed, but also the future of our industry, we always focus not only on the sales of fertilizers. We do not focus on the simple one-to-one relationship between the supplier and the customer, or our sales team and our customers, for instance, farmers. We take consideration. We consider the broader picture, the big picture, the food safety in Europe. This aspect also includes all the elements that drive the quality of food, and this is of key importance for our continent. After those several meetings, in the perspective of the past couple of years, during which we have made our voice heard in Europe and internationally, we have been recommending higher interest of Poland in those forums. Poles must be heard during those discussions, which focus both on food safety and also a variety of different factors which have an impact on the quality of life in Europe and also on European business. We always drew attention to the fact that whenever decisions are taken on a global scale or the European scale, Poles and also representatives of other Central and Eastern Europe countries must be present and must be heard. Therefore, we are making our business and our interests visible throughout at all those forums and events. Mr. Marek Kapucha is one of our representatives at the international forum. We are also part of the Central European Energy Partners. We were present at the World Economic Forum in Davos. We are supporting and we are discussing the situation of our industry, and we are partnering with other representatives of our business. When we analyzed our results for the last quarter of 2014, we wondered why our results do not mimic the falling crude prices. It turned out that the share of ships transporting our products is very low. This directive that I've just mentioned applies to European Union. It does not concern all the ships that navigate on the Baltic Sea, such as the Russian fleet. We are wondering why the freight of petroleum products to Poland is not able to follow the falling prices of crude oil throughout the world, and also in terms of our fertilizers exports. This deteriorates the competitive position of European Union producers. Decisions like this must be highlighted. Therefore, we are focusing on discussions, and we will highlight those developments and those changes. We need partnership with a number of different organizations because we never know where the surprise comes from. If we focus on food safety and other aspects related to fertilizer feedstocks or chemicals feedstocks, then we must take into account that our position, our costs can be impacted by a number of different other factors which are beyond our control and which can catch us as a surprise. I have mentioned before that we are preparing for a major project. This is the program that we believe at Azoty will change the image of our group and also will change the image and the situation of the chemicals sector in Poland. We are preparing to adopt a new financing model for Grupa Azoty. On the 23rd of April, we signed an agreement with the consortium of 4 banks, which is the first step, the first but a major step of this process of new financing model. We have invited those banks to finance our business. The negotiation process was long, but in the end we selected 4 banks which were able to meet our expectations. The next step will include the signing of 2 other agreements with the European Investment Bank and with another financial institution. The new financial model is based on short-term and medium-term loans, which will be taken out by the group, because this is the only way in which we can leverage fully the financial potential of the group. We can focus on projects which for individual companies of our group would not be available. The split of financing between the parent company and other companies in the group in the medium and long-term perspective will be based on a number of tools, from cash pooling, intercompany loans, and also group bonds. We are assuming that the financing of the project will be implemented based on project finance formula by those entities which will be responsible for the implementation of those projects, or in other words, by project owners. This is another project which will take us into the next phase of the group's integration, not only in the legal or an organizational perspective, but also on a more purely financial basis. This group's potential can be used more efficiently, both in terms of borrowings or third-party financing, but also in other manners, using the potential of all plants across the group. We have managed to keep a strong position in terms of our market shares across our major markets. Both in the European Union and in Poland, our market shares have remained rather flat. We are presenting solid results for the first quarter of 2015, but we want to focus on the fact that this situation is always challenging and it requires action to be taken to meet those challenges. and to use our potential, and we must intensify those projects which improve our cost position and cost efficiency. In terms of our market trends, we have managed to maintain good price levels year on year, but both ammonia and urea prices declined. In terms of ammonium sulfate prices, it went up by 6%. In the plastics segment, driven by the falling prices of crude oil and petroleum products, we have reported declining caprolactam and polyamide 6 prices. And in the same period, the prices of benzene fell almost by 50%. On a year-on-year basis, compared with the first quarter of 2014, we have observed higher imports, both for urea and compound fertilizers, as well as ammonium nitrate. We are discussing the results for the first quarter of 2015, which are solid. But we are discussing those results in the midst of the second quarter of 2015, which we know is always a more challenging quarter, and also the same applies to the third quarter of the year. If we compare the prices of agricultural products in 2014 and 2015 compared with the previous season, then we will see clearly that the prices of agricultural products are lower, and the purchasing power of the entire sector has deteriorated slightly. In the second quarter, we have observed a gradual decline of the fertilizers portfolio. This is a seasonal trend because our production plants are preparing to maintenance shutdowns. We are preparing for the new price season at the end of the second quarter or beginning of the third quarter of the year. In the plastics segment, we are focusing on caprolactam and polyamide markets, taking into account the new production capacities in China. Depreciation of euro versus dollar makes imports of our products less attractive. However, on the market side, we are stressing that the automotive and white goods market are reporting very good results, which will have a positive impact on our plastics business. Combined with good results or better results of the construction segment and good outlook for the oxo alcohols business, we can be optimistic. As far as titanium white is concerned, the prices on the European market remained flat. We will observe a slight upward trend in consumption in the summertime. We know that titanium white is a highly seasonal product. We are also focusing on melamine, in which we will also observe upward trends for prices. As far as our key energy feedstocks are concerned, we are expecting a stabilization of crude oil at $60–70 per barrel, which will obviously impact on petroleum product prices, including benzene, which is a key product for our chemicals business. Potassium chloride is also expected at $315 CFR in China, and this price is expected to remain at this level until the end of the year. Our tasks are in the diversification of our gas supply included the focus on non-system purchasing of gas, which was much higher than in the first quarter of 2014. As I've mentioned before, 2.8 million in revenue, 70% in EBITDA, or 384 million PLN, and a good net profit and earnings per share. These are the key financial highlights for the group. The change of EBITDA was driven mainly by higher volume of sales, which was up 250 million, and also improvement in our cost structures in terms of the cost of our products and goods sold and services sold. This was, however, combined by the declining prices of our products, which obviously negatively impacts our EBITDA by 27 million PLN, which in terms of higher selling costs. These financials were also impacted by the sales of our energy to third parties. Now, in terms of the breakdown into segments, EBITDA was driven mainly by the fertilizers segment. The share of plastics in EBITDA was comparable year on year. The chemicals segment reported a slightly lower results year on year, and the remaining segments reported better results in comparison with the first quarter of 2014. In the fertilizers segment alone, the revenue was up by 13%, including 7% in ammonia and nitrate fertilizers. We have mentioned before that 2015 is the year in which we will see very ambitious increases in our fertilizers segment. And this is visible already in the first quarter. In the plastics segment across the group, even considering declining prices of our major products, the corresponding decline of our revenue is very moderate. We have reported a 3% decline in polyamide and 25% slump in caprolactam, mainly driven by declining prices of benzene. In the chemicals segment, we reported a 6% decline across the segment, driven mainly by declining prices of oxo alcohols, 31%. Which is very similar to the situation of the caprolactam sales and is driven by price trends for feedstocks. Both melamine and our other major products have increased in terms of their selling prices. However, we reported a 19% decline in EBITDA year on year. The balance sheet total of the group is more than 2 billion PLN. This shows a very good financial standing on the back of a very positive situation in terms of our operations. Cash flow from operating activities greatly improved our cash cash situation. The net debt was down to 154 million PLN at the end of Q1. The structure of costs by type were down 2.3% year-on-year, mainly on the back of lower consumption of energy and materials. Now the floor is over to the representative of Puławy. The financial performance of Puławy is well within the trends that you have mentioned and discussed before. Year on year, we reported higher revenue, which was driven mainly by supply, or the volume of products that we sold on the market. And there's also another driver on the negative side, meaning the prices of all our products, which fell steadily across all our sales. However, combined with higher volumes, we arrived at the result which is above the line. We reported higher net profit at 77 million. And the key drivers obviously included lower prices of products, but also a good situation in terms of the prices of feedstocks. Prices of coal especially was a major driver of our EBITDA reported in the first quarter, which is up 78% year on year. If we look at the main drivers of our financial performance at Puławy in terms of EBITDA for 2015 first quarter, we can see that the sales volume is the major driver, which is obviously in the fertilizers segment. The prices of feedstock, the selling prices of our products, as well as general administrative expenses, are minor compared to the major driver of our EBITDA, which was reported at 227 million PLN. Now, as far as the details are concerned, if we look at our revenue, the agro-fertilizers segment is a major segment of our business, 79%. The chemicals segment reported a downward trend, mainly in terms of the falling prices of our products. And the auxiliary segments, other segments, are well within the price trends reported across the group. As far as EBITDA is concerned, we can see that the major contributing segment is highlighted, but I want to discuss the chemicals segment, because this segment was driven by two factors. First of all, contracts signed for melamine sales, and the second driver was a relatively high slump in the prices of benzene, which was reported in the first quarter. Unfortunately, this trend, benzene prices, which is also combined with caprolactam prices. Unfortunately, this slump impacted our results only in the first quarter, but recently we have observed a rising price trend again. As far as prices of our major products are concerned, the table that you see on the slide and the charts are self-explanatory. we must take into account the volumes and also costs of our major energy feedstocks. These were the main drivers of our product prices. The same situation can be reported for our chemicals segment. There were no spectacular successes in that area, but in this very difficult and challenging market, we can safely assume that our results and key financials are at a very good level. As far as our balance sheet totals and major financial highlights are concerned, both EBIT and EBITDA have shown a very good rising trend. The same for other profitability results, like return on capital employed and return on equity. As far as our liquidity trends are concerned, and also our debt trends, we must highlight that at Puławy, we are reporting a more than 7.5% increase compared with the group. If we look at our cash and cash equivalents, 536 million is the figure that I want to mention, which includes 12 million in borrowings, and our net result is at 324 million. These are the results that prove that we are able to generate cash, and this cash must work for our benefit, so that we are able to increase both our revenue and EBITDA. Mr. Andrzej Skolmowski mentioned the investment product, the major investment product across the group. We are also taking part in that product. We want to generate good results, good profits and EBITDA in this challenging market situation and the challenging period ahead of us. As far as financials of Police are concerned, in terms of our revenue, they were up by 14 million year on year. Our EBIT at 94 million, which is double the figure of first quarter of 2014, and EBITDA at 12.67%. And as I've already mentioned, we were able to triple our net profit. Even if we take into account the first 9 months of 2014, it would turn out that our quarter 1 2015 result is higher than for 9 months. This result was driven by prices of compound fertilizers, just as in Puławy, and higher volume of fertilizers produced, and also higher consumption of feedstocks, plus higher costs, resulting not only from our operations, but also our logistics. Those two last elements deteriorated our results, but they were combined, luckily, with higher sales volumes. In terms of our results by segment, the major determinant of our business and driver of our business is the fertilizer segment, where the result was up by 100 million year on year. EBITDA, we have also reported a good, solid performance in terms of EBITDA in fertilizers. As far as the breakdown into segments is concerned, our fertilizers segment was our fertilizer business was driven mainly by the good results of nitrate products, 111 million higher year on year. Urea sales were comparable with the first quarter 2015, and also other major products such as ammonia products remained also flat. EBITDA in fertilizers reached 90 million PLN, which was double the figure year on year, and EBITDA margin is at 14%, which is also double the figure from the first quarter of 2014. We reported good results mainly due to higher sales volumes, up nearly 26%. In terms of pigments and our results in this segment, we are reporting EBITDA at -8%, but we are still above the line. Our revenue is approximately the same as in the first quarter of 2014. Those results do not impact our overall performance at the Grupa Azoty Group, but we must mention also those highlights. This was due mainly to the oversupply of titanium white in the market and a rather unfavorable, or still not very favorable position in terms of the European economy in general. We do not expect major developments and major changes in this segment. As far as our financial ratios are concerned, all our profitability ratios went up, especially in terms of EBIT profitability, which was reported at 9%, which is triple the amount of the first quarter 2014, the same for EBITDA and other profitability ratios. In terms of our liquidity, this ratio went down slightly, mainly on the back of higher demand for energy feedstocks, mainly phosphates, potassium chloride, and natural gas. Our net debt was down a couple of million PLN, which was mainly due to lower amount of borrowings, thanks to our better financial results. However, we applied major funding for our investment products. We want to earmark the highest amount of capex in the history of our company in 2015 and the years to come. Our financial position was very good, and we contributed to the group's situation in general at 20%. I would like to also mention the structure of our costs. It has not changed, and I do not expect it to change in the future. The main cost is the consumption of materials and energy, up 250 million PLN, which was mainly related to the production of compound fertilizers. This cost was offset by the positive effect of gas prices, which in the first quarter reached 15 million PLN. Thank you very much. And now the financial performance of the Grupa Azoty Group. We reported good revenues from sale, as well as EBITDA and net profit. If we compare those results year on year, this means higher result both for revenue and EBITDA. As far as the breakdown into segments is concerned, we reported a significant increase of revenue in fertilizers, a slightly lower increase in OXO. And we know that fertilizers are a main driver of our performance, financial performance, representing 58% of our revenue. I have mentioned our financial standing in terms of our assets. Our balance sheet total reached 1.37 billion PLN. We improved our profitability ratios. EBIT reached nearly 14% and EBITDA just slightly over 17%. We also improved our liquidity ratios, and our debt also indicates that ZAK's financial standing is a solid one. Thank you very much. Thank you for your attention. We are very happy to present solid financial performance in a traditional very good quarter, first quarter of the year. Now we are waiting for your questions. If there are no other questions, thank you very much. Obviously, we will have the behind-the-scenes conversations after the conference. Thank you very much for attending the conference. Goodbye.